Hi. Okay, part two. My mother's actually been trying to get me to do some type of video diary or writing or something for months and months and months. She's been harassing me, my mom, and trying to get me to do this. And I really just, it's hard to revisit everything that I've been through because it was so painful. And actually, I think what really got me doing it today is anger. Um, Someone told me today that they had spent 2 weeks in solitary confinement in jail in a room no bigger than my closet and only got to get out to eat. And they would rather do my 7 months in the hospital, pain and all, surgeries and all. They'd rather do that than those 2 weeks. And so that basically, you know, that their 2 weeks is so much more severe than those 7 months. And it angered me. Not that I don't usually try to compare myself or my story to anybody else's because there's people way worse off than I am, you know. But to compare that to what I went through is just insane. I mean, first of all, there's very few people that really know what I went through. No one knows exactly what I went through except me, and God. But as far as who can even come close to understanding, I can name them literally. It's a handful of people. My mother was there. My mother knows probably more than anyone what all I went through. My daughter, my father, my grandmother. Um, those are the four that were at the hospital seeing me all the time. Those are the four that were there, other than the doctors and the nurses. There's also people like, my stepmom, my half brother, my half sister, a couple of my friends. There's a handful of those that, came to visit some and know a little bit of what was going on. And when I finally got out, 7 months later of being in there consecutively, when I did finally get out, I wasn't able to live on my own. I had to live with my dad and my stepmom. And so, and my brother and my sister were there and my daughter. And so they got to see the aftermath of basically learning to live again, and so they were there. And, you know, other than those handful of people, no one really knows. I mean, you can empathize, you can look at pictures and you can hear stories and everything, but you can't really understand what it's like to go through it. And I've pretty much, most of my friends know the basics, the stories, but I'm not one of those that, needs a sympathy vote or, that I want people to feel sorry for me or anything like that because I don't. There's way more people in the world that are in just as bad a situations or worse than I was. So I don't need sympathy or all that. My main focus and the main reason I decided to finally speak out is because this needs to stop. And this man that did this to me should not be allowed to do this to anyone else again, ever. He do the Roux-en-Y, do the gastric bypass, fine, but you should not be allowed to do what you did to me to anyone else again. And people need to be educated, and you need to do research. Do not trust anyone, and that's the mistakes that I made. And that's why I decided to be vocal about it, is that I don't want people to make the same mistakes. And I get literally hundreds of emails and text messages weekly from complete strangers, not even just in America, but from all over the world that have seen my story somehow. And they ask questions and they ask advice, and I try to tell them, the truth of what I know. I answer every single person that asks me a question. I don't ignore anyone. Sometimes it takes me time to get back to everybody, especially right now. I don't have internet at home, so. But the most important thing is education, I think. And I just, it was very hard. It was very, very, very difficult. And I'm the type of person that doesn't like to live negative. I try to keep everything positive. I try to keep a happy face on and act like everything's okay. But it's not. This was done to me a year and a half ago. I spent 7 months in the hospital. And since I got released out of the hospital in the first part of, Well, it's been a little over a year. Um, I can't even tell you how many times I've been back. I can't tell you how many surgeries I've had. I've had multiple visits, some for a day, some for a couple weeks, you know. And the problem is I don't know if it'll ever end, you know. My whole goal was to get healthy. It wasn't about looking good. It wasn't about being thin. It was just about being healthy. It was about being able to live my life, provide for my daughter, be able to go back to work. I miss working. It was about being able to just live what most people consider a normal life. And that has been taken away from me. Because here we are a year and a half later, and I still have days like yesterday where I literally laid on this couch and got up twice to use the restroom. And that was excruciatingly painful. I still burn. My wounds are closed. All you see when you look at me now are scars. I wear pain patches. I take pain medicine. I take nerve medicine. I take depression medicine. I take anxiety medicine. I take all this crap now. And it still doesn't get rid of it. The pain is still there. It doesn't even really make it manageable. Some days, today is not too bad. It's hell. It's hell. And I hate, I try not to hate people because I'm a good person and I'm a Christian and I believe in God and I believe in forgiveness. But I hate the man that did this to me. And I know that I have to find a way to forgive him, but I can't right now. If I had money for a lawyer, I'd sue the man. Not for money, because even if I were to sue him and win, the most you can get in Texas wouldn't even begin to cover my medical bills. But I would sue him because the world needs to know that these kind of people are out there doing this, and these kind of people need to be stopped. It's not fair. And if you see this video, it's not fair. And if you want to sue me for slander, you do what you gotta do. But what you did is wrong. You ruined my life, my family's life, my daughter's life. It will never ever be the same. I thought eventually I would heal and everything would be hunky-dory, but with all the research Mom's been doing and everything and finding out most people that actually survive this never really heal. Most people, there's two kinds of M.R.S.A. There's one that's just like a kind of like a skin type infection, and then there's one that's like a deep wound infection, from what I understand. And most people that get the one I have don't live. I don't have it right now, but I'll always be a carrier of it for the rest of my life. And it's very hard. I'm gonna go for a little while.